All right. And we are here, my friend. Thank you for coming on. This is my friend Gordon Jones. I appreciate you dealing with me. If everybody that doesn't know, the podcast isn't the easiest thing to produce in the world. You seeing as this room that we're sitting in gets used for about 10 different things. And my friend has been bearing with me here patiently for about 45 minutes. So we'll start the podcast off by appreciating you for that, my friend. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hey, Gordon Jones. I'm in North Augusta, South Carolina, so I'm just right across the border from Augusta, Georgia. I do a lot of things. I'm a father of five adopted special needs kids with my wife, who is also a social entrepreneur herself. She's got a preschool for medically fragile children, so basically 6 week to 6 year olds that get therapy and nursing and education in an unique integrative model. So she's busy doing that. I teach blockchain, data privacy, and digital identity over at the University of South Carolina as an adjunct professor, where I'm also a fellow and entrepreneur in residence at the college. So that's my role there, is to teach students entrepreneurship and then help students and faculty who might have ideas they want to bring to market.
Cool.
Not really on the big funding. The niche I'm meeting there is that the professors that don't get all these research grants and all that, that they then get the president's office and his or her staff all involved in their technology, but just somebody who has an idea um, and wants to bring that to market, and so I help them do that.
Well, that's pretty neat, my friend. And you've got obviously um, a very extroverted sense of service, to all the people that you're interacting with. Obviously, with the path that you've taken in your life and how much time you spend learning and teaching shows that you have a mindset of wanting to bring value to your people. Where do you think that you get that from?
Oh, I get that from God. Well, I did tell I have a book out there too about kind of my pathway, and I talk about there. My dad was a physician in the military, so I was raised a military brat. And I say that there's only two types of military brats. One is an introvert who just totally focused on grades because you move around so much.
Oh yeah.
If you're either an introvert, so you just focus on your grades no matter where you are, and kind of go and don't have a whole lot of friends and all that, or you're out there and you're making new friends real fast because you don't know how long you're going to be there, so you got to make good friends real fast. So I guess that's the path I took.
So how long have
uh,
you been interacting and teaching blockchain?
well, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2013,
Oh wow.
but I didn't get into all that until 2017. A friend of mine who was a co-founder of findwhat.com, which was they invented pay-per-click
Mm-hmm.
before Google. And he came to me in 2017 saying, because he had already he had already forked uh, the Litecoin chain in order to create a token around saving America before Trump adopted that term. And so he came to me and said, "Hey, Gordon, my doctorate's in health administration, so I've been in health tech since
Oh
'97."
nice.
And he said, "Hey, Gordon, why don't we figure out how we can use blockchain for healthcare?" And so in 2017, I designed a model where we could leverage blockchain to decentralized healthcare payment. So it's not insurance. Insurance is where you give your money every month to a big company who then reinvests it. And then if they have to pay for some of your care, then they pay for some of your care. But they're making all their money off of investing the
Hmm.
the
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 liquid cash you give them
the
every month.
reserves,
Yeah.
right? The float. And what we wanted to do is create a model where, as a matter of fact, in the U.S., there's a model that's already like this, but it's manual. Metashare, you may have heard on
Mm-hmm.
the radio before. It's a Christian medical cost sharing model. Basically, you need you went to go see your doctor and now you want to pay your doctor's bill off, and then you send your message into the network, and then the network asks the other people that are members to send money to you to pay off your doctor's bill. It's kind of the old Christian model. Well, what we wanted to do is decentralize that and use blockchain, and then automate it through smart contracts. And so I designed that system in 2017. It was called Universal Health Coin. The problem was that was right before the crypto winter in 2018, where Bitcoin and everything crashed, and that's when the SEC, the FTC, the FDA, the NSA, the FBI were all
All
jumping
the
in on top
acronyms.
of that.
All the
So,
acronyms are on it. Yeah.
so we decided that we didn't want to get in the middle of all that before they figured out what it was, because they didn't know who they were going to arrest and what for. Not that we were doing anything wrong.
Right.
It's just nobody knew who was doing wrong or right back then.
Right.
So it's still kind of the same. It's a little bit better today in today's world, but anyway, so that's how I got into it. And then the University of South Carolina asked me to teach on and the stuff. And we had already been educating the governor and the legislators and the agency directors and the citizens and businesses about the benefits of blockchain here in South Carolina. And so the university just asked me to teach a course on that. And then
Sure.
I've always taught entrepreneurship. And I've always been a teacher as an adjunct. I started out teaching healthcare administration about 20 years ago. I've taught some business courses in business school, and then now this program's actually in the Information and Communications College
Oh, cool.
at the university. I call them content creators. That's
Yeah.
where the School of Journalism, mass media, mass communications, digital
Yeah.
media, library and sciences, all those.
Yeah. It's like Grady. What Grady is the journalism school at UGA for
Yeah.
South Carolina, right?
Yep, exactly. And so I teach there, and then in all my courses that I teach entrepreneurship. So no matter what I'm teaching, my students are to identify a problem they see in the market or personally that they want to then figure out how to solve using what they're learning in that particular class. And then I have them do a 1-page executive summary, a 5-page pitch deck, and a 3 to 5 minute pitch.
Oh, wow.
Final, as instead of taking an exam, they do that pitch.
Do your students take their problems that they're trying to solve in the market and fall in love with them and attack those after they're done with their pitch?
Yeah, so I actually helped one student out of my 2020 class start up a corporation called Validity Corporation. Her problem that she wanted to solve was around student identity. Not gender stuff, but more if you lose your student ID or your driver's license and somebody commandeers your identity by replacing the picture on the driver's license and using it to buy beer down in the
Right.
what we call the entertainment district.
Yeah.
She wanted to figure out how we could create a secure system using blockchain to do that. And it was such a good idea. We decided to start up a company. The timing was okay, but not great, because when we went to go really do our seed round was in the beginning of 2022 when everything started crashing.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of research and development, and we even piloted with USC on converting a college degree into a digital asset that we call a verifiable credential.
Wow.
That then the graduate controls that information, and the employer that they would give it to get a job doesn't have to call the university to verify they graduated from there. They're using blockchain technology to verify that degree is true and accurate and immutable, so the student hasn't changed any of that information. So that's where we are today. But we're trying to we're working on getting our seed funding to be able to build a production level of that application.
Sure. Well, I'd imagine that's a pretty high level build, huh? It's going to be an expensive one.
Yeah. Well, we're looking for $2.5 million to build the whole thing out. We can do a lot. We can do a lot with less. Most of that money actually would be going towards scaling
Sure.
once we get the production version launched. But
Sure. Well, that's pretty
anyway,
interesting. I mean, I could see that um, because I have always, I have always fancied myself sort of an academic as well. I've always enjoyed learning. I always had really, really good grades. I always, um, pushed past the bare minimum of what my assignments were, and all of that was inspired by the teachers that I had. All
yeah,
of that was inspired by people that were very enthusiastic about what it was that they were teaching, and it made me want to do something my own. So I could see that bleeding over into your students and them saying, okay, well now I am an entrepreneur and I have to use blockchain technology to solve a problem in a market because that's what humans are supposed to do.
that's
It's
right.
easy to
That's
get
right.
on that wavelength.
God created. God's the original entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He created the universe and the world and the human out of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least we've got some basic materials to work with here.
Tell me a little bit about the accelerator that you had alluded
Yeah.
to as well. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, I've been through several accelerator or incubator programs myself. I co-founded one here in Augusta called the Clubhouse, which is in the Cyber Center down at the University, Augusta University, downtown Augusta. And out of that, we actually had a program funded by the Kauffman Foundation for 2 years, where we were helping 20 local startups get started. What I wanted to do was kind of combine, um, my faith into my. I have always, from the standpoint of asking for guidance and all that and everything I do, but we can do a lot more. As a matter of fact, businesses affect culture more than government, nonprofits, NGOs, and even the church.
Yeah, I believe that.
And so through business, we feel, if we build a community of faith, we call faith driven entrepreneurs or the faith driven movement, or within and around the business, we don't have to sneak in the gospel message to a conversation with a customer or a colleague. We just need to live it.
Yeah,
Right.
just be
And then
yourself.
they will see it in us and how we take care of them as a customer, or how we take care of them as an employee. And then they'll ask, well, what gives you all this energy, and why are you doing that for me? You're the business owner. You're supposed to be making as much profit as you want, and not really care about me as an employee or whatever. And so if we start working and changing the mindset of even those, they're already Christians, right? They already own a business. They're already Christian. Now we just need to help them build that culture within their company. And then that will then, move out into the communities that they serve. And so what I'm doing is I've started a nonprofit 501c3. The official name is Gordon Jones's Mission and Ministries, but we do have a kind of DBA right now called a Faith Driven Movement at faithdrivenmovement.org. There are several Christian and faith-based organizations around the world, really, but here in the United States, that we're looking to support and utilize. One's the Faith Driven Entrepreneur Group at faithdrivenentrepreneur.org, which they also have the Faith Driven Investor.org group. So they're working at both sides of it, from the investor to down and the entrepreneur. And then there's Ocean Programs, which is based out of Cincinnati. They're an actual incubator accelerator program. And so I want to be able to leverage what they've already built, so I don't have to build it from scratch.
I heard that.
Know how to operate them already, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of content you got to create. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your
and all
brand
that
is so
stuff.
important in that space. Your brand is just dominates your message.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's
But
awesome.
yeah, there's people. I was very surprised because I kind of had this idea in December, talked to my wife about it, and I said, I want to help entrepreneurs, but I also want to bring in our faith and God into that. And I hadn't really been exposed to groups until I started doing my research in January.
Sure.
And so now, I'm just very excited because they have some really good content. Um, they're helping, they're also there for non-Christians too, right?
Sure.
Hey, listen, this is a model you can use to build and grow your company. And
Sure.
so
Sure.
it's really good. I'm really
Well,
excited about
I'll take your I'll take your effort in the direction that you're giving, and I will match it. If you need, or anyone in that accelerator, as you're helping people, need some help with anything on the content or podcasting or payments side of things,
it. Okay.
or whatever that is, let us help, because we
Yeah,
can
that
we
would be
can
great.
extend
Well,
some.
it takes a community, man. It takes a
Absolutely, it
network
does.
of businesses and experts and mentors and
Oh yeah, and even with
influencers.
all that, it's difficult. You know what I mean? Is because at the heart of what it is that you're doing from an entrepreneurial perspective, identifying a problem in the market and figuring out how to solve it and make money in itself is very,
Very
very
good.
difficult. Even if you have all of those people around them and everyone is doing their own piece of that, which makes it exponentially easier. That overarching theme of solving a problem that everyone experiences in whatever sector that you're approaching is
Yeah.
is difficult and daunting, and not only difficult from a how hard is this to accomplish perspective, but it's mentally difficult. It's exhausting sometimes. It puts strain on other things in your life that you find important to you. So I think that the idea that it takes a village and a community is so important. And I'm not sure if you've been to Atlanta Tech Village before, actually, but Atlanta Tech Village up here in Buckhead, they're number one, phrase, their motto is "It takes a village." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're really in line with giving you access to talent and giving you access to capital and giving you access to feedback. That's
Well,
the three
and
things that they promise.
one of the areas in which we see a big need though is hey, you're launched and you're funded and you're going at it, but you're working 80, 100 hours a week
Yeah.
and you're neglecting your family and your friends and you're drinking too much coffee during the day and then you're going out and drinking too much alcohol at night and you're wearing yourself out and there's nobody there to help you, right? It's all these incubators and everything are all excited to help get things launched, but then once they're past the startup stage, it's the owners are still working their tail off. And so I think that's one of the places where we really want to help is hey, come in and just be a part of a group of like-minded people and talk about your problems. And there may be a way for us to help you solve them, but if nothing else, you're just venting.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the benefits I see of these groups, especially the faith-based entrepreneur group, is that they've got a lot of content. They've got groups that they facilitate that you don't have to be a startup. I mean, they just want you to come
Yeah, their
in
net
and
is wide.
yeah, I mean, it's all about bringing the support of God and Jesus and that into how you take care of yourself as an entrepreneur, because we want you to continue to grow and be the person that God expects us to be. And you can't do that when you're tired and worn
Yeah.
out and you're yelling at your kids because you're tired and worn out or
Yeah,
whatever.
100%. And and I
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, because so I have a bunch of interactions, especially like in Birmingham, right? Like Birmingham has a pretty glowing tech scene that you wouldn't know unless you experienced or had some connections to people in Birmingham. What does the technology community look like in southern South Carolina? Like where in that little ecosystem that you're in is it really
Well,
just the
so
university, or
yeah, all right. So, well, my sphere includes Augusta. So,
sure? Is it so it was
we've got
Augustus
our
and Wilson
little
Tech?
incubator over here, and ATDC comes out of Atlanta and comes over
Hmm.
here every now and then, and um, so that's okay. And Augusta's the cyber headquarters now for Army DoD, Army's cyber.
Mm-hmm.
department, and then there's a lot of DoD cyber training here, and then the NSA has got a great presence here. So Augusta's pretty good there. Not necessarily from a tech startup standpoint, though. TaxSlayer was startup out of here,
Yeah, that's true.
and a
I
couple of
forgot about
others.
that.
We've got Charleston is probably the most prominent through the digital corridor down there. Greenville is very heavy, very good, but they're more diverse from a technology stand. I mean, they go from automated cars and batteries all the way into your
Yeah, it's
basic
just why they have
web
consumer
development
stuff and business stuff, manufacturing stuff.
Columbia is
I've seen
working
those.
on it. Historically they they haven't really built a community around tech startups per se, but they're working on that. They got a group called GrowCo, which is Grow Columbia. It's not just for tech startups, but it's to kind of help spur the development of new businesses in Columbia. And then Rock Hill, Fort Mill, which they now these days they call that South Charlotte, even though it's in South Carolina.
That's funny. I
Charlotte's
didn't know
Bruins.
that. I'd never heard that. That's funny.
But they've got they've got some things going on up there. But South Carolina, we as a matter of fact, I'm a co-founder of the South Carolina Emerging Tech Association, and we created that entity to help talk about emerging technology that South Carolina could lead in if we wanted to. The cool thing about that is we've already found property and helped bring in 2 Bitcoin mining operations. We helped the treasurer's office get $500,000 added to his budget to study digital assets. We've educated, like I was telling you before, the governor and the legislature, and I presented to the South Carolina DMV about digital identity as they start talking about digital IDs. So yeah, I mean, it's working. South Carolina, I mean, I love South Carolina. My family's been here since 1692. So
Goodness gracious.
So I'm trying to help South Carolina become a great tech hub if I can help it.
I heard that. I'd like to
Definitely
help too.
Entrepreneurial too.
Anything in the southeast has my support. We actually have a trip up to Knoxville. Oh, we're leaving tomorrow. I have to go pack. But yeah, we're going. We're headed up to Knoxville. We have a meeting up there with some of the guys that handle the NIL for the University of Tennessee for all their athletes.
Okay.
And then they have
we got the national lab up there too. Like we
Yep.
have the Savannah River National Lab here in Augusta area.
Yep, and it's pretty cool actually. When I was in school, I went to UGA, so I'm a Bulldog. We'll get that out of the way up front, I guess. But they have a huge so I did poultry science, was actually my journey class. Was like you have to kind of pick something that's way outside your wheelhouse and do it your freshman year, and I picked poultry science and got into the composting side of things and just the what they have from an agricultural side of things at the University of Georgia was it was insane, the resources that they had to be able to put hands on and really learn about just any agricultural science in general. And then I think we went to Clemson first, and then we went to the University of Tennessee, and then we went to Auburn because I remember we finished at Auburn because I despised being at Auburn because of the veterinary stuff.
All of those schools are the agricultural.
They're killing it, man. They are killing it.
They're all the schools that got funded by the federal government to start up agricultural programs.
I believe that. But what I think of when I hear emerging technology, and I know you only got a few minutes left, but what I think of when I hear emerging technology is blockchain. That's still what comes to my mind when you talk about emerging technology.
Well,
when you
AI
say that,
now too.
yeah. So, I guess that is
especially when
true.
we start comparing them. I mean, not comparing, but putting them together,
Yeah, combining
using
them.
them both. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That was pretty neat. That was actually what I was going to ask you is like, what is that cutting edge look like? Because, I mean, I remember literally my first interaction in the startup community was probably 2017. And I remember someone explaining smart contracts to me. And that was the
Okay.
moment that blockchain started to make sense to me. And now I'm
Right.
6 years
Hey,
of hearing
I
about
tell
it. So.
everybody blockchain is the technology that enables Bitcoin to exist. Okay. And all the other cryptocurrency, but the true invention that Satoshi Nakamoto created was not Bitcoin. It was blockchain technology, because the blockchain technology has to exist
Yeah, the
in
tokenization.
order to enable Bitcoin to exist. And now we figured out a million different other use cases for blockchain technology.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cool, my friend, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you, any asset that I can be to that community out there. I'm no developer, and I'm no Java savant. So and I probably will never be, and that is okay with me. But I know payments pretty well. I know networking pretty well. We've got a pretty dense network of people, and I
Okay.
do subscribe fully to the fact that it takes a village and it takes a community. So
Sure.
if there is anything that we can do to help, or any resources that we can lend, let us know, because I know it'll be lent in the right direction.
Sure. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here. I know you said you had a hard stop at 2:15.
Yeah, I got to go meet some guys at 2:30.
I heard that.
But do me a favor, and can you just go ahead and send me the raw file of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I can send it over.
'Cause
It might not be.
I need to share it with somebody like this evening.
Yeah, I can do that.
No, I won't post it anywhere, but if you can just share me the
Yeah,
raw,
I can. Yeah, that was what I was about to say. I can't edit into it, but I can take it and I can transfer it to you right as we end this call.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
That'd be
cool.
great.
Yeah, I can
Cool,
do
man.
that. All right. Well, you
And
take
then,
it
and
easy,
then
my
when you
friend.
do the edited version, then I'll socialize it all over the place for you.
I appreciate that, my friend. And if you have any people in your community that we have a pitch contest next Wednesday. It's 5 to 7 Eastern time. We're doing it virtually via Discord. We're giving away a cash prize that night. If you have people in your community that are building proprietary technology, doesn't have to have a payments usage, nothing like that. Like if you have people that are building proprietary technology.
You got me a slot for
Yep.
privacy, which is the identity.
Yep,
pitch.
absolutely. And if you
Yeah.
have anyone else that wants to fit in there,
Okay.
we have slots. We probably are less. We're probably a little over halfway full. So
Okay. All
cool.
right.
Well, you take it easy, my friend. I'll get this to you
Thanks.
right now. Thank you.
All right. Cool. All right. Later on.
Later. See you.